Canada is the only G20 country in a recession, and the state of the economy is dire. The economy has shrunk 3 out of the last 4 quarters. Per capita GDP shows annualized growth of only 0.2% per year over the last 7 years. Capital investment has declined for 5 quarters in a row, and bankruptcies have hit rates not seen since 2009. At what point do the Liberals stop calling these technicalities and start admitting that Canadians were promised growth and fiscal responsibility, but got a recession instead?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Finance.
Speaker, it's times like this that remind me of the famous pragmatic philosopher William James, who famously said, "Pessimism leads to weakness, optimism to power." Perhaps there's no quote that could greater explain the misfortunes of the Conservative Party of Canada in this House. But let's be honest, despite the headwinds, there's much to be optimistic about in the Canadian economy. 1.5% in consumer spending. Wages outpacing inflation every month this government has been in power, and 88,000 jobs in May. That's 800%.
The Honourable Member for Newmarket, Aurora.
If denial could grow the economy, we will certainly be leading in the G20, Mr. Speaker. Canada is in a recession. Scotiabank's forecast growth of just 0.8%, BMO 0.5% for this year. The Bank of Canada warns that 1 in 10 homeowners in Toronto might not be able to renew their mortgages. While the Liberals may try to dismiss this recession, Canadians cannot ignore losing their jobs, their businesses, or delaying retirement. Will the Prime Minister acknowledge this recessionary conditions Canadians are facing are real, or are those just technicalities too?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Finance.
Speaker, I want Canadians to realize what Conservatives choose to spend their time on in a time of great anxiety and uncertainty. They choose to amplify bad news in our economy. They choose to be pessimistic at a time that Canadians need optimism. Canadians need a government that lifts them up. That's what our government is doing by investing in 12 million Canadians with the groceries and essentials benefit, with celebrating 88,000 new jobs in the Canadian economy, 800% exceeding expectation. That's the kind of government Canadians deserve. They deserve much better.
The Honourable Member for Cowichan, Malahat, Langford.
Under this Liberal Prime Minister, Canada is the only G20 country in a recession, and in the past few days, we've learned much more about how dire the state of our economy is under his watch. On Saturday night, in a Lake Cowichan pub, workers told me their biggest worry was affording groceries. But the Liberals' recycled grocery stunt cuts off at only $59,000 for a couple, meaning full-time workers are shut out. The Prime Minister laughed at suffering Canadians in this House last week. Will he stop laughing and start caring so Canadians can afford to eat?
Good job.